the men. Come and stand this side so that I don't disturb the audience, but I talk to you. You are all welcome, and I must just say that you are all looking good. And I want to say thank you to you in advance before this talk, that, you know, when I called you and actually asked that you be here for this event, you never took that for granted, and you happen to be here today and in time, and I thank you. Today, we are talking this sensitive. It's a very sensitive, and as women, we actually don't want to talk about it. We are talking resilience. And you've heard from our speakers that were here on how they bounce back, and as I said, that you yourself, you also bounce back in your own life. This is the women of Eguroleni, and they also want to hear from you that you know better, and they believe that you have the info, and they want to go out of this auditorium being changed. But I'm going to ask the first question, and this one will be directed to our own Lieutenant Colonel Msibi. According to your understanding, I know you have a great understanding. You just said that you know trauma, you are a mental health specialist, so I know you dealt with so many things, and the years of the service in the South African Police Service should really indicate more about you. So I'm saying, as you know, a psychologist, and you yourself as a person, what is your own, in your own words, understanding, what is it that you are talking about resilience? Because, you know, people are talking, but I don't get it. What is resilience?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, General, all the officers present. Protocol is observed. Thank you so much for having me. To keep it short, ladies have spoken about it, and they have iterated how resilience is bouncing back. But I think the most important thing that I would like to highlight when it comes to resilience is we know that resilience is the ability to bounce back after different challenges, after you've encountered a lot of stresses and things that have set you back. Firstly, resilience is something that's learned. I think we need to just get that out there. Doctor will confirm, you're not born with resilience. Resilience is something that is developed. It's not innate, it's developed over time. And the psychologist in me also wanted to highlight, before I go to other definitions, that not everyone has that skill and they have it on tap. And we find that in a lot of spaces like this, I'm loving the motivation, I'm loving how we're speaking, but there could be one or two of us here who are saying, I don't know how to. I've never bounced back. Is it even possible? It is something that through proper support and guidance, you can learn to do it, but it's not something that everybody's just born with. It is something that comes equipped with what we are given, the support and the development as we grow as individuals. So you bounce back after a challenge, but the trick about resilience is you don't just bounce back, you need to bounce back healthier. That is the most important thing. So it is you coming out of a challenge, coming positively out of a challenge, you know, and within that resilience, there's things that you need to be able to go through to understand and to be able to come out of it. You know, things like confidence. You need confidence to be able to bounce back. You know, and what is confidence? It's self-awareness. It's knowing your abilities. It's knowing what is there. And when you're going through a challenge, it's very hard for you to find your confidence. It's very hard for you to understand what is confidence. You know, one of our speakers spoke about how she knew what she's capable of. You know, she understood what are her strengths. Those are some of we call them the 7 C's of resilience. They're too long and I won't go through them, but it's some of the aspects that you need to go through as an individual to say that you came out, but not just came out of a challenge, came out healthier. So if there's anything of the definition, bounce back, but bounce back healthier.
All right. One thing that I'm learning today, so you are saying, but you're not going to answer. I'm just reflecting. You are saying resilience, it's not something that you are born with. I was thinking for such a long time that I was born with resilience. But now you are saying, probably in my journey, I've learned resilience. Okay, that actually makes sense to the thing that we are saying. I want to come to you, Doc. And you know, I know you as a woman of many, like maybe talents, I can say that. You are having your practice, you are having a family, and you are having yourself that you have to look after. And I want to be actually, maybe just to be specific, that you've got 4 daughters. Yes. But we are sitting here and we are saying it's possible to bounce back with so many responsibilities. Is it possible to bounce back when we are having so many responsibilities? How do you juggle in all these things? How, you know, there are so many. You are having your own business, you are having your daughters that are at the university, the primary, and you have yourself that you have to look at. How? Yes.
Thank you so much for having me. Namaste, good afternoon. The God in me really salutes the God in you. I am so privileged to be here. And I think before I say anything else, what I'll say, as I was sitting there, I said, what a journey. Just to give you some background, I am not a medical, I'm not a general practitioner, I'm an optometrist. As we met in Pretoria, we just having a conversation about abuse and all that, and where I come in, because I'm in between, so I am in that space where I'm still becoming. But I was so privileged to be here and to listen to all the speakers, and I've been so empowered. And what it was, for me, it was like I was married for about 20 years, and after that 20 years came a point where I had to start over, and starting from scratch. So I will say that resilience really is something that you are really not born with. It's a tool that you will need out of necessity. And for you to actually bounce back, it's not something that's going to be cute. It's not going to look nice. It's not going to, you know, you see the end product, but the process sometimes makes you wonder if the promise is still there. But as they said, support is very, very crucial. So when you go through anything that's major in life, I think what I've come to realize is that you have to make a choice. Are you going to be stuck there, or are you going to move? So I think when you make that choice, it doesn't necessarily mean that the process is going to be smooth. You're going to have days that are very, very difficult, and you're going to have a lot of setbacks, but I think the possibilities for me has been one thing that has been very, very encouraging to think that, you know, whatever you've been through, the possibilities of the things that are to come, I think will make you be able to stand and say, I choose me. Because the thing about it is that when you go through something, you have to understand that when you look at it, you're like, I've wasted my life, I've lost so much, but then the issue becomes, do you want to waste another minute? It's not going to be easy, but you're going to have to do it just for you. And for me, what I've come to learn is that after all that, I realized that I was always the prize. I just didn't know it. So my message for everyone is like, don't be like me and spend 20 years chasing yourself. And to show that I was always the prize, I had to lose everything to find myself, and that has been the most rewarding thing. I'm still trying to find my footing. Me and my girls, I think I was lucky in the sense that through their strength, I got to see my own. And we're still juggling, but the end result of all that we had to go through was the fact that we found each other. We got to know something different about ourselves and each other. And we got to understand that it's not really about all the things that you have, but it's about having each other's backs. So I have been that lucky in that I got a chance to see the other side. And when you are trying to go through anything, I think what you always check is the things that you've lost. But it gets to a point where you have to check the things that you still have. And I think for me, having been in practice for that long, what I had was that I had failed a lot in my life. So that was a strength. I thought it was a weakness. It was actually a strength. Because even though I was failing, I was still going back. So that was the thing that I had to look at and say to myself, I have nothing else, but I still have, this is the one ability that I've always had. I have started over too many times in business. So I got to understand that I could maybe just use that to save myself. And it is still a journey. It is still interesting. There are still things that come up. And what I've had to do, I've had to look at myself honestly. And I've had to ask myself in everything that has happened, what was my role? And I've had to be kind to myself to say, I'm learning. I'm not perfect, but I'm learning.
Right.
And this is all that I can expect from anybody else. So this has given me a chance to forgive, because I understand that we are all not perfect, but we're trying.
All right, Doc.
Thank you.
I
suspect it's you.
All right. From what I'm hearing from you, you said a lot.
Yeah.
You said a lot. And I think probably the ladies also heard. But what you said, what actually struck me, is that resilience. When you are bouncing back, is not going to be easy. It's not an easy journey. So ladies sitting here, when we are bouncing back and you think, "Ay man, izinto zami mara kuhamba kanjani?" Hold on. The message from her is this: when we are bouncing back, when you are in things and you are trying to find yourself, things are not going to be easy. Do not give up. Unfortunately, we have a pastor. This pastor, I know she's truly involved with the women at Teguruleni, but I just want to find out from him now, maybe from the spiritual perspective. What is this resilience? From a spiritual perspective, from the woman who loves the Lord like me so much, is it right, good man, right, resilience for us, or we can just live and trust the Lord? Because the Lord most is doing everything for us, so we can just trust and not learn this resilience. Or it's also for us.
Thank you. Greetings. Resilience is an ability to bounce back. They said we are not born with it. It's something that we learn. It's true, but I say we are born with it. We are born with it. How are we born with it, Melusi? That's why when you go through challenges of life, after 20 years, she had to try to sit down and check who she is. She knew who was she before. Something that we are born with. The problem with women, all women, they have a dream in this planet Earth. Their dreams are shattered when they meet a certain man. The man that you want you to become what he wants. You lose that thing that you are. Then now you move your life, you run your life not knowing who you are. You are running your life with an old oil. Then after 20 years, that's when you sit down and say, let me think of who I am. I want to be me. You were you, but somebody took something out of you. The problem is this: as a woman, you must have who you are and stand on who you are. Even if the man approaches you, he must approach on who you are and tell him that this is who I am. I cannot change. God has created me like this. One of the speakers said it earlier here. I got married to the pastor. This person was abusing me. This person, Mamela Lana, the resilience in this woman was singing. The comeback in this woman came. Utomagamshia isikhali sakhe like Moses. Bekumculo. Manje sekawuye. What I'm saying, once we start to lose who we are by somebody else, that is why when when I did my bounce back after divorces, all these women that left me, I didn't check who I am. When they dumped me, I knew who I was. It's just that I was not meant for them. Stop checking who you are. You know who you are. Be who you are and don't change who you are. Even if not divorce too, I've never sat down and say it's about me. It's ever been about me. It's just that I was with somebody that didn't know who I was. That's why I made up a bounce back. That is my partner. She can dump me now. I always tell her I will bounce back immediately. Not even after 2 months. I don't even take time. I don't even take time. Once it dumps me, I get another one next week or tomorrow because of I knew who I was. The problem is this: you are mourning someone that have never created you. Umona indoda ekuthola umuhle ushayela igcebhezane zakho wafuna ufaka izinto ezinde. Maseka you are mourning up the divorce. If ever that person left you, he didn't suit you. That's my take.
All right.
So the bounce back is quick if you know who you are. Once you don't know who you are, that bounce back, it will take you 2 years. Thank you.
All right. Uyashisa umfundisi. All right, ladies, let's continue. From what I picked up now, General kuzobanzima yazi, from next week. Now that umfundisi is saying we are with people and we are changing ourselves for people, manje, I'm thinking the ladies that are here, they are thinking deep, mara mina ye ngubani mina ya. Baningi abantu abazolahlwa. Baningi abantu abazolahlwa. And my EHW izoba busy next week. Ngoba ama case azoba nebaningi. Many people trying to find themselves. But I want also to fully nje ngivumelane nomfundisi. Ladies, let's not change who we are because of the next person, because then you are living your life unhappily so, trying to please the other person. Ngicabanga ukuthi the best thing here that you need to do, umuntu wakho nje akakuthole nje ukuthi ngubani, ngumama siyayikhulumela, uyithandela ukujiva, uyithandela ubumnandi injalo, right? Don't hide behind things because it will not take long. Is what you are saying, right, Pastor? Okay, I don't know. Let's come to our backbone of the South African Police Service. This one is from the medical field now, Paul Med. But what is your take on this when we talk about resilience? Pepe.
Thank you very much, KP. You ladies look beautiful. You look beautiful. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Yeah, thank you very much for the invite. I was so inspired when I saw Captain dancing here. Even before hearing her story or listening to her ordeal, I knew that this was a woman who knows who she is. Yes. You see? And he spoke earlier on about you not losing yourself. And the only way to find out whose you are and who you are is to do what we call a reflection, an honest reflection of yourself on a daily basis. Because reflection is very key. There's a beautiful song that Michael Jackson once sang. He said, it starts with the man in the mirror. If I want to make a change, it starts with me. And you can only be able to tap into that if you find out who and whose you are. You know, there's one American author, Alvin Toffler, who once said that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but it is those who refuse to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So there are a lot of bad habits that we need to get rid of as well. We spoke about resilience, etc., but we must also be responsible and accountable to ourselves by taking responsibility also in whatever it is that we are going through. Because most of the time we tend to shift the blame also to a lot of people. There are problems that we have created ourselves. There are problems that people put on ourselves. But whatever it is, even when you are in that crucible, you need to, before you come out of there, make sure that you do not come out of it without the lesson. When David speaks, he speaks about going through the valley of the shadow of death. He doesn't say sitting in the shadow. He talks about going through. So the going through part, the part in between, that's where the problem lies. And I believe that is where we develop our resilience. Because the Bible also says that my strength is made perfect in your weakness. So in your weakness, in your valley part, while you're walking through the valley, do not leave the lesson out. Because chances are very high that once you are outside of the tunnel or the valley, you will go back because you have not taken stock of what you have done, what your part was in this whole thing, so that you can be responsible. Reflection is very key. Let's go back, colleagues, look at what it is that you are, whose you are, and take a stance. Where to from here? There are many dreams also that we have, like you said, like we change to please people. Sometimes you get into a marriage, you were very enthusiastic, you knew what you wanted to be. I'm sitting next to a psychologist, there's an optometrist here, you always knew you wanted to do that. But then you find omong areng, and then you get rid of your dreams to please someone. And yet deep down you are miserable. And now you have to dance to someone else's tune at the expense of your own happiness. So we need to get rid of that. It is never resilience. That's why they say, when we talk about Imbogoto, we like to define Imbogoto at times as if Imbogoto is unbreakable. And Imbogoto also feels pain. And Imbogoto also breaks. So find yourself. If you wanted to study, even if you are 45 years old, tinter yourself and show up. The last thing that I would like to say, Kepi, is that you are your ancestors' best dream. You are the one that they have always dreamed of. You came at the right time. 45 years old, go back to school. 50 years, you can still go back, and even if you wanted to become a psychologist, for example, and you are 50 years old, you can end up opening up your own practice instead of working for someone else. Even if you want to become a doctor, an optometrist, you do not have to go to Bas John. You can do it for yourself. Amen.
All right. I don't think on Monday there will be more people at work. The reason being that I've got 2 spaces if you want to go to UNISA Monday. Because it's me and Muruti, and you can come in if you want to join us. Because he said, whether you are 50, whether you are 60, whether you are 45, if you want to twist your life, the ball is in your court. It's never too late for anything. It's just never too late for anything. So I think it's an emphasis from what they said. And one thing that I didn't know that you are a pastor. Pepeng. Yes. I didn't know that you are a pastor. And I said when I started, this panel is not my panel. So the ladies might be sitting here and they want to ask something from you. If you want to ask something, can you raise up your hand and ask them? You ask a psychologist, the psychologist is in front of you, it's Solo, and Pasani is here, and we've got Ngwenya, and we've got our own. Do you have questions? Do you have things that you want to clarify about this resilience that we are talking about? And then about general, you just talk where you are sitting. Ladies, you don't have a question? You don't? Yeah? You don't have a question? So your marriages are going so well that you actually not have anything, your monies are going so well, and okay, there is a question.
Okay, thank you so much. My question, I'm going to direct it to you, Pastor. Not in a bad way because of my history. I want to ask you this question, Uguti. As you are saying, you can marry today, tomorrow, are you meaning it? Are you healing? Because I was hurt because I married someone who was from the divorced. And kunezinto ayengakwazi ukungenzela zona because he shared nomunye wife. So ngesikhathi umuva uya uhila nini, usithatha nini isikhathi sokuhila njengoba umuva komunye umshado. Yiloko engifuna ukubuza.
Okay. Okay, ngimpendulo.
Yebo.
Siyabantu asifani. Uma ngishela intombi, whether ngiyashumayela or ngiyenzani, ngishela umntwana omunye umama engamazi. Ngiyazazisa ukuthi ngubani, azazisa ukuthi ungubani. Siphile sisayine sishade icontract. But uma umuntu masekade akasangifuni, ngeke ngamfoster. Izoba buhlungu inhliziyo yami. Ngoba bese sine bond ethize naleyo muntu. Kepha angidalwanga uye akaphethanga iphupho lami. Ungishiya nginephupho angakholelwanga kulo. Kunzima ukumona umuntu o-undermine idream yakho. Why must I mourn someone that left the dream? She's distracting my dream. So what I will do, I will just heal myself with, okay, this relationship is broken up. It's okay. The next person, akangeni endabeni zami zalo engibuya kuye. Ngiqala impilo entsha naye, ngiyamutshela ukuthi ngumelusi wakangonya bengishadile, siswami kayi2 ngidivorciwe ngiluze izimali eziningi kabi and umuhle ngiyakuthanda, kepha yazi ke isitori sami ukuthi kukuwe ukuthi uyangena noma uyaphuma. Angifuni ukumthengisa amabhanoyi ngimthembise ini, ngiyamtshela ukuthi umuhle ngiyakuthanda, kepha hlale wazi ukuthi bengishadile before. If ever bawufuna ivirgin yomfana, unfortunately I'm not a virgin. If ever bawufuna umfana ongakaze ashade, unfortunately ke ngashada, hamba uyofuna ungangixakekisi.
All right, I like
Yileyo ke impendulo yami ukuthi
yes.
You will never mourn for the longest time.
Yeah.
Make your decision and move. Thanks.
Let's go to the psychologist. What is your take in this?
And I don't want to disagree, Limurudi. I'm sitting, I'm thinking, you're Kimokrast, Mari. I can disagree, Kimokrast. Mari, the psychologist in me, kicked in to say, I appreciated you saying that we are not the same. I appreciated that. But I just wanted to tap onto that a little bit. Two things. One, because we're not the same, Muruti can bounce back because of the way he's built, what he's developed, his strengths that he's aware of, his capabilities that he's aware of, you know, the skills that he has learned over the years that he's been equipped with. But the next person could not. And the next person could need a helping hand from you or me to hold them. And what I appreciate about SAPS is that we hold them together and get with a social worker with us, yes. So the next person will have to go through a process of letting go of the baggage, go through the process of accepting the situation that they're in, go through the process of healing from the divorce, healing from the failed relationship. Because if you don't, the next person carries it. As a psychologist, I did not even see it because I married someone who was previously married. And I had honestly just thought he's okay because he presented to be okay. And in the marriage, that's when I learned that a lot of the things that are happening is because of what happened back then. The way I'm being treated is because of what happened. So the faults that they both had, because it takes two to tango, the faults that they both had, I now needed to deal with them. You know how sad it is to go into a relationship where you've never had to produce a call-up in the house and say, we're going to Tabazimbi Academy. You know, and you know Tabazimbi, there's no network. You know, and I had to produce a call-up to say, here's my name. Because what happened before was the same thing, but it was not Tabazimbi. You see, it's those things where by God's grace and Him understanding, and through the continuous therapy that we're still having, even when times are good, our Muruti made him understand that I need to assist you to let go of what happened. Because he thought he could just walk out, find another one, kumnand, you know? So we're not the same. So if you know that you don't have the same skills that Muruti and other individuals have, go and get assistance to let go. If you're with a spouse and you see that what is within this person is because of past traumas, get assistance together. Don't let him walk that journey alone, because you're now in this together. It's a marriage, and it's a partnership, it's a relationship. Walk this journey with this person so that the both of you can start on a clean slate. So that is a process that we assist you to go through. Number two, I just wanted to add on to what Giule said about taking responsibility. It's an example I use all the time in therapy sessions, even at home. There's a movie, Tyler Perry, I don't even remember the name. I think it's for the colored girls. And I'm sure some women know it, some men know it. Where a man is suffering from PTSD because he comes from the war, he's a war veteran. And he keeps on abusing his wife over and over again. They have 2 kids. And because she's on the mindset, Yauri, he is a war veteran and he's suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. That is why he's taking it out on me. She never does anything about it. She endures the abuse. And the neighbor is the one that would take the 2 kids and hide them. One day she comes home and she finds him holding the 2 kids. They're on the top floor, outside the window, threatening to say that I know where you've been. And as a result, you're cheating on me, I'm gonna drop these kids. And he does. He drops those kids from the top floor down and they die. And it's devastating. But what I appreciated is that that woman that used to hide the kids went to her and said, the only way you will heal is if you take responsibility of the role that you played in the death of your kids. It's painful that she had to hear that. But the role that she played is that she endured this. Like Murutu said, you stay in it, you lose yourself, and you compromise in these 2 people that you brought into the world. And these 2 people are the ones that end up suffering. Abuse does not start with me as a child. I have seen it at home. If I'm going to go or continue with it. So as a parent, it's your responsibility to bounce back, but removing yourself, like Muruti's been saying, in a situation that does not serve you. Because the ones that are after you are looking at you, and they will continue what they have learned.
All right.
Okay. Can I just
yes.
Yes. As human beings, I'd like to agree with what they said. But I believe that as human beings, we need to have a mirror and a map. It's very important to have a mirror and a map. The mirror, we should use it to reflect. A reflection is key. I will repeat it. It's very important, and do not lose the lesson. Why do I say that? Is because I'd like to agree with her that jumping quickly into something, annulling a traumatic experience, can end up damaging a very beautiful thing. That's why they say hurt people hurt people. Jumping into another relationship quickly, I'm not saying you are wrong, Mama. We are different as human beings. Jumping into another relationship, although only past trauma, you stand a very good chance to being in the future, yet still being stuck in memory. Or you end up damaging the future because of memory. I'll make an example. Sorry, my comrade. Take for example, like now, we are 30 years in democracy, But what is it that we have been fed? We've been fed, okay, man, that the child that the president made an example of, not Zakani, man. Tinzwalo. So we speak about old things in the future. We do not have a map for the future. So it's very important to reflect and also then draft a plan for the future as to how you are going to go forward from here. But that should only happen after you have learned the lesson. Thank you very much.
All right. I want to go to the doctor now. You know, this is telling me that I should come to you. You said you're actually hearing from what the pastor has just said, and they've said their opinion, but what is your take in this? The pastor. Yeah, from the
In
pastor.
terms of?
What is your take from what the pastor has just said? To say, when you move on, you get someone, and you know, like the way I understand him, he doesn't actually get time to sit down and reflect, but it's the way he is built.
Oh.
Like Tuli said that, you know, we are not the same, but what is your take in this?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. In my opinion, I think what they all said is right in its own way,
Yeah.
because what happens in most relationships as well
Yeah.
is the fact that sometimes when you see somebody physically walk out,
Yeah.
they have emotionally walked out over a year ago. So sometimes you're judging somebody to say they moved on too quickly, but they had already left the building. Just because they are physically in there doesn't mean they are still committed to their partner. So, you know, so clearly, and also I don't want to be offensive, but like, I mean,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you've practiced, if something has happened to you before,
Yeah.
obviously you will have some, you know, you'll build a thick skin
Yeah.
the next time. So you obviously won't be as naive to put it, you know. So obviously you'll just look at it for what it is. And I liked what he said when he said, these people, it's like you get to understand that this person was just not for me. I was just not for them. And I think for if you get to that part, I think it makes it easier, because then you get to understand your own self-worth. So you're not really judging yourself in terms of if I accept you or not.
Okay.
So I think if you get to that part, it's going to be easier for you to move on. And I think also what I've seen is that the way that we are in romantic relationships is not just in romantic relationships. We tend to carry that into other relationships,
Okay.
where you find that you overcompensate also in other relationships.
Okay.
So once you learn that skill to say, if I'm not accepted here, let me move on.
Okay.
I think we cannot judge that as well.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
that is, yeah.
So what I picked up from what you said, even the ladies that were saying, yeah. It's some of us, we are in marriages, but again, we are like,
Yeah, no, we're already done.
we're already done.
Yes.
Let's get a professional opinion from the social worker, Kenan Mavuso, from that point. I think yena uyazazi lezi zinto futhi. Dala dila nazo.
A professional opinion, or generally, it's difficult to judge, because ngaleso sikhathi umuntu angena ku relationship, it's all roses, and really, as njengomfundisi ashilo, people get into relationships for wrong reasons. Abanye, really, you've met your soulmate, and it's not all doom and gloom, because other people are really happy for real. So as you know, you cannot use the one pain to go to everybody or good relationship we are forced to go happy. Other people, there are good men out there. But I think what is important, as because zishilo ubuzazi, ne self-introspection. If umuntu athi ngizokushada, there's nothing wrong with buza. Why me? Ubayekelani bonke abanye angithi nizwana nama-player or zwana nama-player. And uyazi ujabulele nje ukuthi how choose mina ngizobashowa laba abanye, because somebody said ukuthi the most people who hate women is other women. Siyahethana usisi ushilo. Abantu ababa bachithana nabo bani mostly women. You know, uyazi ukuthi ungena emshadweni lo muntu ushadile, but uyangena ulibele uyi-side chick and all that, and ujabulela lo ukuthi uthanda wena ngoba mina ngifake i-heel and all that stuff. But what is important, mina ngithanda leye self-care, introspection, and consultation. There's nothing wrong. I'm premarital, relationships. Now you're sure. Abo pastor bakon, social workers are there, psychologists are there, your parents are there. Buza and ungaqini na utshelwa iqiniso ube stubborn ukuthi no, you don't understand. Because indlela ibuzwa kwabaphambili, and most of the time they've walked the way. And ngesinye isikhathi it's funny ngoba umuntu kini abangamthandi uye lo ozo F apha. Abazali bafile nje ukuthi abamthandi. Most of the time now uthatha ingane uhamba kabi naloyo muntu. Hence the ancestors ama blessings aphuma, so buza and iba honest. And kunento usisi ayishilo and nothing personally. Uthe u captain mina ngangilale officeini kodwa nangivuka ekseni ngishayihile ngaka. And clearly colleagues or umuntu bekangafuna nokusupporta wouldn't have known. And ngingazi ke ngoba sisi said ukuthi iShalu was not there, but it's important guys to say asingahlali phezu kwezinto, khuluma, talk privately, uvala umnyango ukuthi Ken 10 or Ken bani ngithwele ungangiboni ngifaka i-high heel ku rough, yes, and ngifuna uncedo. Ungasaba ukufuna uncedo, ngabi nabahloni ngoba wena ukusalayo uzolithola uncedo, bayiyeke bahlebe ngawe, but wena uzolala ubuthongo ngoba ohlebayo ushilo sesikuthi nihleli kwezenu, so ungabi namahloni wena okusalayo uzobulala ubuthongo. But ke professionally it's help, and it can't help out there guys. Asingathuli nisiphile impilo yamanga. I-help ikhona and a change na ungekuza ukuthi hayi ngimuza uKenel Mavuso iya somewhere vula kokota khona nakungavalekwa iwindow ini khona lo mnyango ozovuleka uthole i-help has nomfundisi or abanye bathi as much as i-resilience ungazalwa nayo but uyayilena. And look at her and look at them and look at you, by the way, ngoba as much as singazi, look at you, ungazandamine uhleli, but look at you today. So yeah, angazore ngiphendule zona. Yeah, i-help ikhona guys, asingathulini. Yabona nje, yeah.
I like what I'm coming to you, Sisi, up there, and I like what Kenel Mavuso said. To said, ladies, help is there. Like she even said, with maungamfeel winning, ngifuna ukuthi manje maungayifili le EHW that is in your space. We are on angithi sebenza sonke and you feel like you don't feel umamzi. Don't sit. There are people that can actually help you out there. So help is just a hand away. Let's give it to the lady on top.
Hello, KP. Can I just throw in there? She spoke about help, ne?
Yeah.
She spoke about help. I cannot stop talking. I cannot talk here and not mention the benefits that Paulmet has got, ne? Paulmet has got a very beautiful benefit, a psychosocial benefit, where they gave you as the main member 4 free sessions to speak to a professional. 4 free sessions. What you do, you just register on the psychosocial benefit, and then Paulmet will then hook you up with a psychologist who will then contact you, set up an appointment, and then you go and see that person. 4 free sessions, and on top of that one, once the 4 sessions are finished, you still have 15 more out of hospital sessions that you can tap into. The person that you are seeing will just have to call the medical aid this time to ask for an authorization, and then you go and see the psychologist or the social worker or whoever for 15 more sessions. If the 15 sessions are finished out of hospital and you still feel normal, I need to go inside and be able to relax nicely. There is 21 more days for you to go into an institution and be helped by a psychosocial team there. So please make use of those benefits, colleagues. If you don't mind, you can just give KP your details if you'd like to register onto the program, and then she can forward me the details, and then I'll set you up. Thank you. That's Paulmet. This is the part where you clap for Paulmet.
Mina igama uMamlawuzi niyangazi nonke la. Ngiyabonga kakhulu ukuthi ngikhulume nani njengomama. Ngisukume. uMamlawuzi lo khulumayo ne? Ngicela ukushare nani enye into bomama, especially nina abo mamfundisi. Sihlele ngoba abantu bazothini. Yes, siyahlala vele. Nami ngihlele. So ngifuna ukushare i-coping mechanism. Ngoba masi kule process le kuba nendlela omele ucope ngayo, omele uyisebenzise to cope. So kukhona lento engiyisebenzisayo mina sekashilo uKenneth Mavuso nabanye ukuthi ake sisifundiseni ukukhuluma. Mawuhlangabezana nezinto khuluma. Ngeke ngathi mangihamba umunye umama wathi kimi mawungafika ePark Station wathola amabhasi amile Western Cape, Eastern Cape nase KZN when you are from Limpopo eVenda ngena ebhasini ufike uhlale uthole lo mama ohlelila or lo baba ukhulume ukhiphe konke. So iproblem esinayo asikwazi ukukhuluma abomama. Indaba zethu sihlala nazo. Masihlala nazo ziyaslimaza. Sifuna ukuthi basibone ukuthi sithina sijabulile ngaphakathi singajabulanga. As huge or as big or as fat as I am, ngiyajima mina, it's not a secret. Ngithe ngifuna ukushare nani i-coping mechanism. So ake sizifundiseni ukuba peace. Ake sisifundiseni ukujima uku-exercise abomama. Ngizokupha imic mama but ngiworried kakhulu ngabomama ozothi mawufika kuye awukhalela inyembezi athi ngikhaliswa yindoda. Zikhiphe busy. Mina ngibake ama cake. Thola something ongayenza. Mawushayisile thatha umshini wakho ukuthunga uthunge, thatha impahla zabantwana uthunge, ube busy. Angeke umbone ubaba ukuthi ubuye ngo12 ebusuku. Ngiyaxolisa kulaba ababona ngathi lento engikhulumayo ayikho kodwa izokusiza. Abomama asiyekelene ukhala nokuphuma isikhathi singakafiki. Angisho wonke umuntu ubona izinto ngendlela yakhe. Mina ngiyabasupporta mabathi mawungahlaleki phuma. Mina angisulo umuntu ophuma easy because ngiyazi ukuthi amandla ngisasenawo. Kukhona indlela zokuthi bathini uyenze amandla abe khona. Zikhiphe busy mfazi, khuluma mfazi, ntombo idla healthy. Yekela ukulala uloku complain ntombo. Thola abanye abantu abanenkinga ezifana nezakho. Uke uhlale phansi nabo. Emfazi phela izolo mina ayizibuyile lapha. Umfundisi bekangiboxa over. Manje mase isong iyenza njani? Omunye uzothi hayi suku hamba wena uhlaleleni. Mara ngoba wena ngaphakathi uyazazi ukuthi mina angisulo hambayo. Thola omunye ozokutshela ukuthi mina ngeke ngadilana nayo ngalendlela. So abomama ngicolisa kakhulu ukuthi mhlawumbe ngikhulume into ngathi akusile enifunayo kodwa mina ngokwami mina ngithi ngiyahlala. Danko.
All right. Okay. There is yeah, it's a Pastor Ukulume snikeza uCaptain and I will take it from there.
Let me try to put this. We are not forced to get married. Because marriage, it's like buying a car. That is why abantu abasindisiwe umshado ngeke ukufake ezulwini. Awuye ezulwini ngomshado. Into ozoyishiya la. Umshado was meant to make babies, to make each other happy. If you don't make each other happy, then what are you doing in that marriage? So, what I'm trying to put here, ngomelusi, ngifisa ukushada umshado onje. Wonke umuntu unesifiso sakhe ngomshado la. Khona i-sessions enginazo engisiqale 2 years ago ngizibiza pre-relationship, not pre-marriage, no. It's pre-relationship before sicabuzana. Why I developed that? Ngibonile ukuthi abantu baya ku pre-marriage sebaxabene vele sekumoshekile. So i-pre-relationship counseling that I'm offering for 3 months. You lapho nibuzana khona ukuthi ungubani ufunani in the next 5 years ufuna ukwenzani ufuna ukachieva ini yini isifiso zakho ipast yakho ithini ngixoxele nisaxoxa anikakacabuzana ngoba once nacabuzana sekunama feelings lapho. Someone will hide the truths. So umshado uma ukuthi wena ufuna ukuhlala kusho ukuthi wena uyakuthanda ukuhlala. Uma ufuna ukuphuma kusho ukuthi uyathanda ukuphuma. There is no specific mechanism to run marriage, but it's up to you and your partner. How do you run your marriage? And if it's not waking up like that, just part ways. You will never have a depression. Khona bahlala bashaywa, bayahlala and abanankinga. For 25 years enkonzo yena shumela umfundisi, but abamuphi even for 20 days abamnikeza. Cha kepha ke mina if ever ngiyithanda ke sex ngizomtshela kahle abuya ngayo lo 12 o'clock lo ukuthi can we work on the sexual life? Isho izinto ozithandayo emshadweni ingakho nishado uma ungasitholi usahlaleleni umbuzo wami lo. Thanks.
Captain. Okay.
Ngiyabonga. Ngicela ukuthi kuma uright yena mayethi uyahlala. Nginefiye yethu thina ngoba njoba sila kakhulu singamaphoyisa. Emshadweni uyabekezela. Kodwa ubekezela nihlushwa izingane zenu ningenamali nihlushwa ama in-laws nobabili ubekezela nihlupheka nobabili once wakhala usuwedwa and lithi izwi kaNkuluNkulu uyinyama yenyama yami uyihlupha kanjani inyama yakho umhlupha kanjani umuntu wakho umthanda lento yokuhlala angisho ukuthi abantu abaphume njengami kodwa izokuhlupha lento yokuhlala ngoba ngelinye ilanga sokulanda usushonile usudutshuliwe ngoba wena ufuna ukuhlala ngesikhathi indoda ingasakuthandi ayisaboni ngesikhathi ikubulala ngoba ifuna ukukubulala usuyisilwana usesile into ayithandayo so musukuhlala endaweni ongathandwa kuyona ene umuntu mayengakuthanda into ayithandayo nje iroko lakho lithandayo ulibeka kahle so umuntu mayekuthanda ukuhlupha kanjani ukushaya kanjani umuntu mayekuthanda. So and another thing mawubekezele abanye abantu banokuthi ngibekezelele izingane zami uzothi mase ikhulele izingane zizophuma zikushiye ziyoshada iphila impilo yayo emnandi usuzoqala manje uyifaka amabhluku uyimpintshi ufuna abantu akekho umuntu ozokuthanda usugugile.
All right, let's hear from you, Doc. We are wrapping up now. I think this is probably your comment and you are wrapping up just in a minute.
Yeah, okay. Mam Lauds, ani mina nangona huma Limpopo. So ayitiva mhaka ya ku munhu fana kondelela. So nimitwisa kahle ku mita mo huma kwi. Mara the problem with all these things is like sometimes the thing that makes us stay is the fact that we're not physically fighting inside the house. And then what we'll normally do as women, I'll say, whenever this person says something, I'm just going to keep quiet so that there's no fighting in front of the children. Mara, I think sometimes what we miss, because for me, I kept on saying, I think I'm strong enough. I'm doing this for my kids. Me, I can stand whatever discomfort, but I want my kids to grow up in this house with two parents and everything. And I thought that was what everything that I was doing for the kids. There was no fighting. It was all very quiet. And every time I thought this person was uncomfortable in any way, I just made him more food because that's what he liked. So, you know, I kept on trying to do more. Until one day my kids said to me, "Why are you staying in this marriage?" And for me, this was shocking because there was nothing that I thought that they could see that looked wrong. And I realized, and in that moment, I had to tell them the truth. I said, I'm staying because I cannot afford this lifestyle that you're used to. And that was the most embarrassing thing for me. But, you know, sometimes we are scared to face what we need to face. So what I did, instead of me making that decision to say, let me work on an exit strategy, I just thought, let me just give this person more. If I was giving him 3 meals, I'm just going to give him 6. You know what I mean? So what happened is that I tried that for a couple more years. And eventually, what we are afraid to face, we eventually are going to face. So after I left, and the two that spoke to me, these were my bigger girls. So after about 2 years, I left. And when I left, my younger kids said to me, I think a couple of months after I left, they were like, so you lied to us. I'm like, what did I do? And you know, when you think you're sacrificing for your kids, and this is the only thing that you think that you have done right. So when they come to you and say you lied to us, I was like, what could I have possibly done? I mean, I was the perfect mother. So she says to me, the first time I went to a sleepover, I was shocked. I'm like, by what? She's like, I thought that women never said anything. Women didn't have an opinion. I'm like, why would you think that? She said, because at our house, Papa is the only one who ever says anything. You just agree with everything that he says. And for me, that was quite shocking, because the thing that I thought I was trying to protect them from was actually teaching them the worst thing, that they don't have a voice, they don't matter, they don't have an opinion. And she's like, I was so shocked. These people actually had a conversation. And you know, the mommy was even responding. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you only say, So I was so shocked at this, and I was looking at it and I said, but I'm failing my kids, and I failed my kids. So now, the things that I did not say actually were the worst things, because now I taught them that they didn't matter. And I taught them that it was normal to let people walk all over you. And I taught them that when somebody mistreats you, just give them more. So I did not say it, but I did it, which was even worse. So what I'm trying to say is that sometimes the things that we think that things are not that bad, but sometimes we need to be open and talk to our kids as well. And be open, because another thing that I realized is that you have an intuition. Your gut tells you, I'm not supposed to be here. But because we were raised by parents that kept out saying things are okay when you could see things were not, you start to doubt the things that you feel. So let us let our children feel what they feel, and let us just validate their feelings, so that even as adults, they can stand up for themselves. And we must just teach them that they are worth something, that they are actually the ultimate prize, and teach them that where they are not needed, they must not stay.
Thank you.
So thank you.
We are wrapping up. We've already wrapped, Doc. Just, you can give it to the psychologist for 1 minute, and you give it to Pepeng for 1 minute, and you give it to the pastor for a minute, and we wrap up.
All right. I think in closing, Doc has said it all. You teach someone how to treat you, number one. Number two, I love what she said. What we do in the begezelling, in the relationships, at home and at work and everywhere, we are teaching our kids to go do the same things. And we sit back and we wonder. That is why in psychology we say, you marry your father. You marry your the boy will marry his mother, because you're gonna go look for what you know, what you were raised with. So had she stayed, her daughters are gonna marry the same man. Has she not changed the narrative? So it's up to us to change the narrative, even the narrative of Mbogoto. Mbogoto, why we're not Haratipa Kabuhaling? You say, no. It just means that you're resilient, you're strong, you're brave, you're courageous, and you can walk out when you need to, you can stay when you need to, but don't let no knife cut you. You are beautiful, you are worthy, you're worth more than that.
All right.
Oh yes, oh yes. Let me just add what she says there. It's very true. At times parents think that they do things for the sake of their kids. Only to find back Hawataban. I'm one of those ones. My mom got married again, and then stepfather vibes, whatever. But I used to experience and see him beating my mom all the time. You know that what that did in me, it killed me. And that's why I ended up even vowing for it. I don't want a stepfather to be a stepdad one day. And along the way, you find that you can even lose beautiful, good people just because of that narrative. And then until my wife, now, we are now married for 11 years. Yes, until one day while she was still studying, she used to study psychology. She used to tell me that you've got anger issues, underlying anger issues. All the signs that you present all the signs about underlying anger, but you do not say it. These are the things that I learned in psychology. And I was in denial until 2012 when I found God. That's when I ended up crying horribly. And all those pictures came back. And at the end of the day, because I found God, I ended up saying to myself that I want to be a different father. I want to do things differently. I don't want to be like this one. It's because I decided. And God helped me through that. So on that note there, it's not everyone who will say, who will reframe it the same way. Others end up, I've got friends who went through the same thing. Bona, they are not married now because they ended up doing the same things that they saw. So we must also be careful and end up not being selfish and want to remain in a marriage for the sake of batubatare. No. I child. Let him go. Can I just quote something here from, this is one of my favorite books that I like. It says there, our greatest human endowment is the ability to reframe and reinterpret a difficult circumstance in a more enlightened and empowering way. Dogs cannot do this, cats cannot do this, monkeys cannot do this. This gift belongs only to us and is part of what makes us human. So how you reframe whatever it is that you're going through. I got an opportunity because I found God and they taught me different way of looking at things there. It's not everyone will get that opportunity. So since we are sitting here, whatever situation it is that you're going through, back to reflection, reframe it, and you can interpret it differently.
All right. You can give it to the pastor. Just a minute, pastor, just a minute.
Okay. Yeah, 1 minute, check. 15 seconds, okay. Just in umshado ngawufunda kumama no babam. I saw my dad loving my mom so much. Angazi ngibabone balwa. I saw them happily kissing each other. I'm a pastor's child. So umshado ngathi uma ngufunda, ngathi uma ngishada kokuqala, I thought lento engiyibone kumama ngizoyibona emshadweni wami. Azange iziyenzeke. Guess what? My first marriage lasted only 18 months. It was a beautiful wedding, beautiful, very expensive one. It was on true love. Mamela, she dumped me, ne? Lento engayibona kubaba ngathi angiyibonanga la kusho ukuthi sesekhona ngaphandle ngisazoyifunda ngaqhubeka ngasada kwesibili ngathi ngifuna lento engayibona kubaba angisho wena umntana wakho ubone wenza kakhulu ngithi mina bengifuna ukwenza le engiyibone kumama nobaba ngoba umshado ngiwufunde ku high stratini. Second marriage yami ngithi 1 2 3 lo muntu lo akusiyo lento lengiyibone kubaba ngikwenzakalani naye uphila nami ngendlela abone ngayo ubaba akaphila nomama ke ngayo. Ngoba mina wagcina sekangitshela ukuthi azimelisa ubaba mbekamenza sumama mami engikho shakacima ngathi iyasihlangane la lento la ihlangana wangidivorce next mangena komunye ngabathi ngiyazama ngathi engage yezwa ngalobo ke mina ngiyabalobola ke first touch ngiyasheshisa ngalobola ngaqeda engagement uma ngithi wenza lokhu nalokhu uyafihla izinto dump next liyabona la engikhona namhlanje we are married for 9 years. Very happy. She's the one that I was looking for. Finally, I found him. So don't give up. Thank you so much.
All right. All right. Indaba ipheli. Mara kuphela isikhathi, right? Isikhathi siyaphela. And moving forward, me and Moruti, we spoke to the general and we said, come 2025, we are going to have izimbizo eguruleni left and right, and we are going to be discussing so many things as fananalis. And she said, I go for it. And if you can just humbly stand up, these people want to see you when you are standing. And they want to take photos, that I know. And I will ask my colleagues from the EHWs, Pumuzu General guys, General today, sithatha le phansi, angalibela sukuma nika abantu ama-present, and ngiyazi ukuthi generally uyakhathala, siyamphumuza shem. Siyakuphumuza ne general? Hayi yazi ukuphumula, hayi ngeke phela. Futhi ngiphumuza nabo brigadier, angifuni ukunihlupha ngoba ngiyazi ukuthi manje mangaqala nginhluphe up and down. Let's do these things differently. Come EHW with the presents and to give to these people that they are here. Come girls, come. While they are standing, don't play the song. Brigadier Shezi, after they behlala, udlala le ngoma sishaya kancane before our own monarch speaks to us. Before they give you this present, I want to say this to you. Starting from you, Pastor Ngwenya, ngithanda ukubonga bhuti wami yazini, ngithanda ukubonga, you are always supporting our vision here, Eguruleni, you are always behind us, and I really appreciate that. And